So therefore, if I were, a young marketer, and if I was an experienced marketer, I think one of the things that you're really talking about is the changing of this mindset, which is to say, you know what, I walk in, I have performance marketing, I have connected TV, I have, traditional TV, I have sponsorships, I have this and that. But the fact that you have to think connected marketing, uh, and you have to think dynamic content, and you have to think contextual, and you have to think data, okay, and you have to think walled garden data, you have to think your data. Is there a framework that you believe a CMO needs to start looking at?
Right. I think a lot of what you described would be parts to that framework, I guess.
Yeah.
And they need to think along those lines. But I think there is also, I would go a step higher. Even when we do some of these analysis, we look at people who come to these locations and what do they do next? Where do they go next, right? So, because then that gives you a journey, not only in terms of where you have reached them, but potentially where you should be in terms of collaboration and partnerships. I think that's really how one is a framework for the advertising money or the marketing money that's been allocated.
Yeah.
I think there is a framework for that. Then there is a second framework which says, how do I bring my own assets in terms of first party data and potentially some physical assets that I could have into play in a meaningful manner. I think then there is a third part of that framework that I need to start thinking about, which is to say, what would be the kind of strategic partnerships that I would be doing at a marketing level, which gives me the point of presence and that, strong brand recall when it comes down to, my consumers' top of the mind recall, right? So when you look at it, I mean, that's why even I know Apple is used for many, many different reasons. They're used as case studies. But a couple of things that are fascinated is they go and take the best locations for their stores. And I'm sure the P&L of those stores still do well. But I think the reason they select that is to be in Piccadilly Circus, is to be in the Singapore waterfront, so that their visibility of that brand is also achieved through that. So strategic placement of their brand is also what they look at. And again, they use billboards very cleverly in terms of an extension to the product in terms of shot on iPhone. So that there is a cleverness in terms of how they do it. But I think if you ask me, there has to be three frameworks. One is execution framework of an omni-media. And I think AI ML will make it a lot easier, but they just have to find the right platform and the right partner to work with in terms of automating that process of thinking. Then they could move to the strategic decisions on how do I commercialize my data, my locations, etc., in a privacy compliant manner. And then they could look at what would be the partnerships that gives me a broader leverage. So I think the first part should be automated in my view, and I think AI will automate it.